What's good with it in the hood with the gente? Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. What? Here goes another one. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. It's a double up. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Where's the trouble up? The bubble up. Ba-ya, ba-ya, ba-ya. Or it is, you can tell by that thumbnail, I'm going to answer the age-old question that's being asked on YouTube constantly, especially to me and others. I'm sure it gets asked to others. I can't even speak for them. So I'm going to speak for me. Everybody wants to know why Norteños don't do YouTube, why I chose to do YouTube and other people chose to do YouTube. But for the majority, active Norteños don't do YouTube. And that's an easy answer, Holmes, because they're not supposed to. You're not supposed to be seen on camera. See, when you're in the game and you're doing what you does, cuz, and you're out there walking that yellow brick road and you're really activated like a Jerry curl and you're really out there smashing, dipping and dashing with a whole lot of energy, let me tell you what happens, bro. You're really committed to a cause. You're really committed to the philosophies of a norteño. You know, what it takes to be one. You know, how you achieve getting to that level. You know, and that's what your mindset should be about. You know, there's a difference between social media and the streets. Although it looks like it got put in a blender, chopped and screwed, and it's all mixed up nowadays. Back in my days and back in your days, it was a lot different. Now, I remember when that show Scared Straight came on. You know, when you would see Valta yelling and screaming and doing all this and that, you know, at these youngsters. And it was cool because there was a good message behind it. And the message was to scare these youngsters into seeing the realities of what it is to be a convict, what it is to go to prison, what it is to be an active gang member. I mean, some of these kids, they listen, I'm never going to take my mother's car again, right? And some just took it with a grain of salt, like, whatever, homie. Now, we all remember we were in a situation, you know, of gangbanging or of a gangbanging mentality, or a lot of us aspired to be someone that was in that game. And there was nothing that anyone could tell us. There was my tios, my primos, my older homeboys. Everyone tried to detour me. Everyone tried to tell me and show me the way. And I said, me la pela, right, toma. I didn't care and I wasn't trying to hear the agenda or what they were pushing. But when it was different, when it was something that I felt, you know, was on the spin of things, when it was something that I felt was gang related, I was all ears. That's a big old house too. I was trying to listen to everything. Jackrabbit, right? That's just what it was. And it was because that was what was fulfilling what I was going for, which was the education on how to become a gang member, first and foremost, a righteous and respected one, and a norteño. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say norteño mentalities and sureño mentalities are much different because it's all the same damn thing. When it all comes down to it, it's all about the prestige, the pride for your barrio, and to be who you're going to be. Man, go out there and represent to the fullest that neighborhood that you're from. We all know that. There's no way to cut it, flip it. Now you're on, right? There's no way to, is it worth it? Yes, it's worth it. Let me take that, flip it, and reverse it. There's no way to strike that and reverse it. It is what it is. Okay, getting back to the whole being on camera thing, as a gang member, you watched movies like Goodfellas. You watched movies like Casino, like Scarface, like King of New York. What are the King of New York? You watched these movies and you said, oh, I want to be a gangster like Frank Wright. Or they say, oh, look to my little friend. You were all trying to be Scarface. Nobody wanted to be Manny boning the bitches. They wanted to be Tony. I myself wanted to be Manny, but that's a whole different story. Now, trip out. Manny dies. So does Tony. Now, the wind's blowing. Think about it. Everybody wants to be that one, the man. Okay? And when you watch all these different shows, they're focusing on never speaking on nobody, never saying too much. If you get caught up, you know what I mean? Hold your own. Don't say nothing. Keep your fucking mouth closed about me. Order to Donnie Brasco. There's a lot of things that you're not supposed to say in the game. And you should know this. No one even has to tell you. You learn this as you go, that being a snitch and being considered anything like that is the furthest thing that you want to be. Now, you got to be, it's understandable that when you're young or even when you're old, sometimes you will make mistakes, man. Sometimes you won't play the game like the game's supposed to be played. And no one can fault you but yourself. Other people could hate the fact, other people could talk shit, but no one can fault you but yourself. So one thing that we always knew, and it was ingrained and embedded just because it was indoctrinated in our minds by ourselves, for ourselves, was not to be seen on camera. Now, being a gang member and coming from that life and knowing what it entails and what you were supposed to do, the do's and don'ts and the don'ts and do's, I knew we were never supposed to speak to law enforcement, never to leave statements, never to be seen on camera. If they're recording in some proximity somewhere around the way, cover your whole shit. Where did we learn this from? The mafiosos, the old Italian shit. We learned don't be seen, Holmes. It's better to be heard than seen, right? Don't put nothing out there. Don't say it's too much. There won't be no stuff. Straight up. So coming from a certain water that's up north, I learned, right, just by word of mouth and by what I seen in front of me and what was presented in front of me, was that Norteños were not supposed to be on camera. Now let's fast forward. We're in the year 2023. Actually, it was about 2020 when I started. I no longer was relegated by the Norte. I no longer was part of that life. I no longer, woke up every morning and rolled my mattress up and got to busting down. I never again was going to do 122 push-ups unless I wanted to. And I don't want to, right? Guard! Fuck you and then push-up. I wasn't going to get to the burpee action. But one thing was for sure was my mentality was still there. I still was of an understanding that Norteños as well as Southsiders, active ones, were never to be seen on camera. We're never to tell the secrets and the little, the hidden squirrel secrets into the society, the hidden society of what really goes on in the barrios, what really goes on. But when I flicked on YouTube and when I looked at social media, I seen times had changed. There was a lot of people speaking on their barrios. There was a lot of people speaking on their past. But I noticed most of these guys that were speaking on their past were people that had left it in the past and just dug it up to tell you our entertaining stories. Now, everybody has a different agenda. Some want to create change. Some want people to hear their stories so that way youngsters change. I'm scared they don't go down that yellow brick road. They don't want them to be caught up in the same type of situations that we were because, oh, how it hurts. And it did hurt sometimes. So I was scared the back of my head looks like cabbage. It hurts, right? Being part of the game. But at the end of the day, everybody has a different agenda. Some just want that clout. They just want everyone to know what they were doing in the barrio way back in the heyday. Everybody wants you to know what you was all about, even though they're not about that anymore. Now they wake up every morning and they're like, sir, do you want a coffee with that? Orale, you know what I mean? I'll take the fucking 2 McDoubles and a whoop-de-wop and a wop-de-whoop. And that's it. Orale, you know what I mean? Make sure you throw fucking some barbecue sauce in it for the late night. You know what I mean? I like fries and barbecue sauce. I don't know about you. I say, thank you and welcome to McDonald's. Now, everybody has a different reasoning behind what they say, but everyone deep down knows inside Norteños, as well as Southsiders, are not supposed to make their presence be felt on camera, whether it be social media or anything. So I ask you this. Nowadays, we see a lot of rappers that are northern rappers or southern rappers. We see a lot of guys that claim to be affiliated still actively with gangs. We see a lot of guys that claim to know someone that knows someone who's at a higher level. We see a lot of different things, and it's all about entertainment. It's all about fascination, right? People are fascinated by what they're not a part of, have never been a part of. They want to know what's up. So now what you see is you have people that are considered Norteños or considered from Northern California on social media, knowing damn well we're not supposed to be, okay? I was never told one way or the other, hey, Holmes, get the fuck off YouTube. The way I am and the type of person I am is I rock on my own-some, not my lonesome, my own-some. I make my own words up as I go, right? And one thing I'll tell you that's a fact, and it's for sure, is if the right people got at me and sat me down and was like, hey, Gun, some of these things that are being put out there, man, we shouldn't speak on. You are not obligated to be, a Norteño. You're not obligated to be cut from that cloth. You're not obligated to speak on certain things. But at the same time, Holmes, you know deep down in your heart, your corazón, what it was and what it is, man. And maybe you should, pump the brakes a little bit. And that is why I personally have switched up some of my content. That is why I personally have decided that if for no other reason, I should speak on some things that I shouldn't spoke on some things. It's not out of fear. It's not out of curiosity. It's not because I'm scared. It's not because of anything. It's because being a man and coming where I came from and laced up the way I was, I understood that I used certain things as a stepping stone, to gain views, to gain traction, to gain whatever it was that you figured I wanted to gain on YouTube, or I figured, and that was that. But really, I had an agenda, Humps. And my agenda was to push my stories out there, to entertain Yet if I could capture one soul, if one kid could say, damn, that motherfucker did that, I'm cool. Because I don't want anyone, not anyone, right, to experience what I experience. Now, the boning the tortas and the having a good old time, say, you can't enjoy yourself, right? But when it comes to the getting shot and the stab and the battery packs, and it comes to being rushed on site or having to rush people on site or catching more time or picking up cases or doing things of that nature, I don't want you to experience that, because not even the most activated motherfucker on the planet likes experiencing that. It's just not a great look, and it doesn't feel too pleasant. Facts, right? Why go through it when you can hear some old broke down bum on YouTube talking about it? Now, I get asked this a lot. Why do the majority of Norteños not show their faces or do YouTube? Because I don't consider myself a Norteño. I consider myself raza from up north in Northern California, period. That's just what it is. I no longer have the claim to that fame. I no longer consider myself a Norteño because I am not one. I'm not living that life. I'm not part of that life. I have left that life behind and pushed on, not floated, but pushed on, right? Whether I was pushed out or pushed myself out, that's irrelevant. The fact remains, I'm no longer part of that. So yes, although Norteños and Southsiders might come up in some of my spills, yes, it might be talked about a little bit of this and a little bit of that. The fact remains, I no longer or intend to be looked at as one, because I'm not. It's just facts, Holmes. Let's base shit on facts. Let's not talk about fiction. Orderly, let's not talk about the little short motherfucker on the movie Willow. Let's not talk about Sebastian riding a dragon. Let's not talk about Willy Wonka. Let's talk about gunnery. Let's talk about some real shit, real life. What my intentions are. My intentions is to entertain the raza, the people, and to fight the good fight for my gente and open up more doors so that way all these new YouTubers that have just recently started, right, have a way, know a way, and can do their own thing and get in their own lane before they get fucking ran over by the big bad wolf. That's just what it is. Now, why do Norteños choose not to be on camera? It's because it's such a structured group that it's ingrained in their mind that if they do that, they could easily be pushed to the wayside. It could easily be all bad. There's things that you can and cannot say on camera. I've seen northern rappers like, let's say, GB and other rappers that have spoken on their careers. And although I thought that they did go over the edge a little bit, or the linea, they did toe the line pretty close on speaking about their gang affiliations and how they got put on and where they were at incarcerated and things that I've said, it's pickers and choosers. Some people can do it, and I guess some people can't. It's just the way it is. If they like USC, you can do whatever you want. If they don't say shit, right? And that's just facts. Now, when it comes to the southern side, not the other side, one thing I can tell you about that is Southsiders move differently than Northerners. It's always been like that. Although we might look the same, might kind of act the same, might kind of get a haircut the same, might even fucking bone chicks the same, right? The one thing remains is that we're not exactly the same when it comes to rules and regulations and expectations. Expectations being the key word. Expectations being the only word. They're expected to act a certain way and rock a certain way. And because the abundance of numbers has gravitated in their direction, they are allowed more liberties of speech rather than Northerners are. Northerners are a tighter ship, not meaning they're a harder ship or a crazier ship or the only ship, because just like the Titanic sunk, any big thing can come to an end. But one thing about the Norteños, they are a very structured militant group, and there's a lot of behind the scenes, and there's a lot of also behind the scenes. And it just depends on what scene you're on. Now, when it comes to the Southerners or Southsiders, they are allowed, it seems, a little bit more liberties. I see a little bit more of these rappers, these Southern rappers, or even gang members, man, voicing their opinions, speaking on politics, speaking on prison, speaking on things that, hey, if you're active, you really shouldn't, because you still got to go back. And when you go back, they're going to stick their hand up there. I don't know. But one thing is for sure, it is what it is, man. That's their business. I can't speak on it because I never walked in them shoes. When you walk a mile in a man's shoes, Holmes, you might have to walk 12 more, and that makes 13. That's saying you don't need that in your life if you ain't from that. Now, take that for what you want. Real game, knowledge you can't get in college. Bang, bang, menudo style, direct fashion. Now, when it comes to Northerners, I have walked in them shoes. I've walked 114 miles in them shoes, and let me tell you something about them shoes. Them shoes, although fitted nicely for many, many years, eventually I got caspa on my feet and calluses on my toes. And I'm going to tell you this, it wasn't because of what was going on around me. It was because I wasn't walking in them shoes right. I should have threw in a little thing, Orthopedics or whatever it's called. I should have been doing my thing, or is that for the back? One thing is for sure, I don't got a straight back or straight feet. So I'm all crooked. I need my V8 one time before I shook it. You understand? Mine's now, look, trip out on this. Norteños are not allowed to speak on camera or speak about the business. And a lot of them have seen their own homeboys or had to be on the other hand of the knife, whacking their own homeboys because of misdeeds, because of not rolling up their mattress. A lot of different things where other vatos or other different groups could get away with, Norteños can't. Just a fucking fact, right? They're very hard on their own. I know. I used to be right there, hard on my own. We went hard in the paint, right? And that's just how it was. That was part of the game. So no, Norteños are not allowed. So you won't see active Norteños with podcasts. If you do, how times have changed. But then again, time does equal change and change equals time. You will see a lot of things change in the future, I'm sure. And everybody's trying to get their hand in the cookie jar. Everybody sees an opportunity with these podcasts, with social media, with being able to put out and push whatever propaganda or agenda you have. Everybody's going to get on like the get on. That's the fact, right? But were Norteños back in my days ever allowed to be on social media? Well, first of all, there was no fucking social media. But we weren't even allowed to write letters to our family without the fucking celly screening them. You know that? Your celly had to screen your letter before it went out. Nobody trusted nobody. So he's reading my letter, I'm reading his letter, and I'm looking at him because this old lady was talking about, she slept with a black guy? He never told me? Right? Something was going wrong. Now, let me tell you, when it comes to the Southsiders, they're different, eh? They move different. What's allowed and what isn't allowed, I can't sit here and tell you. But I know as a man, as a grown man and a Chicano being part of the raza, there's certain things we are not able to get away with. Okay? And we're hard on our own people. We are very hard on our own people. Although everybody wants to hear the stories, everybody always has their opinion on why you should or shouldn't tell that story. They want to hear it, but then they want to ridicule you for telling it. You know, myself, I've taken a step back from telling certain stories, and I got a whole lot of mo, like Club a whole lot of mo, right? But I don't speak on things because I'm trying to distance myself from that whole agenda, man. I'm not trying to be looked at as a dropout Norteño speaking on the business because I'm not speaking on the business. First and foremost, I don't even know what the business is nowadays. The business done changed. The business got tighter where it used to be baggier. It got more colorful where it used to be black and white. I don't know it anymore. Okay, so I can't speak on the unknown. That's not the type of man I am. But one thing I will speak on, what I will do is I will sit here and tell you the answer to your questions. I tell no lies, I tell answers, right? Facts and realness. And the fact is, Norteños, you won't see them on YouTube like that. Look at all these channels. Where do you see active Norteños? So when a vato gets on and like, I'm an active Norteño, I've been doing it like this, he's lying to you. He's lying to you, and he'll probably be dying with you because the fact is that the vato doesn't know what the hell he's talking about because he knows deep down inside, if he knows anything, that he ain't supposed to be speaking on certain elements of the game. And that goes in the gang underworld, period. You're told, don't say nothing. So I was good, what can I say? Nothing. Well, goddamn shit, eh? Guard. What'd you say? I said guard. What the fuck you would call him for? Because the homie shooting me a piece of soap. I better see soap come under that door. You're going to be filling fucking big clumps of soap on the top of your head in the sock. It's just different. It's very different. Or metal. Straight to the pedal, right? Just what it is. Now, so there's your questions and answered correctly, man. People question me. They're like, why are Norteños on YouTube? They won't do YouTube, eh? It's not that they know better or they're better than anyone else or they stick to the grind because motherfuckers tell from every faction, right? But they're not going to do YouTube, bro, because once your face is put on the scene, once it's not covered up, once everybody sees you, everyone's going to get off on you where they're mad at. And now you're going to have to be looking with your head over your shoulder like the gun does when I walk out the door going to Wiener Schnitzel to get some chili cheese fries and a strawberry lemonade. It's ugly, right? But at the same time, man, if you're a man and you have something to push and something to say, by all means, do what you does. Because I'm not here to poison you and tell you to do that. I'm just saying if you do decide to do that, man, do what you do, man. Don't let nobody hold you back from what your true calling is. Me, I'm going to keep pushing this entertainment. I'm going to keep doing what I does. I don't care about hating. I don't care about what anyone else says about me. I don't give a fuck if you like me or if you don't. I don't like you. You don't like me. That's cool. Let's not like together, right? Let's just do what we do like Al Green. We're all still going to be together and we're all going to be together on social media. And guess what? There's a big fucking pull. That's it. And I'm going to jump in whether the sharks, piranhas, and whales are after me. Oh my. I'm surfing on the surfboard, just around shit. You know what I mean? Catching them waves. You know what it is, right? With that being said, there's your question answered. Norteños won't do YouTube because they are told not to, and that is their best bet. And if they do YouTube, then it's going to be all bad for them. And with all bad, I'll let you decipher that. I'm not putting too much out there. I'm just saying the real. With that being said, I hope that you move smooth with a purpose, that you enjoyed this double up, that your question is answered. And yes, I do speak fastly, but you got to listen slowly. You know what I mean? It's just a game. You already know what it is. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive and struggle and struggle and strive for what I honestly and truly believe in. And that's getting it while the getting's good, man. And bringing everyone together to get it with me. Now, this is the gun. Bang, bang.